Pleasure to welcome you to the
Hello. Are we ready? Hi, girls. Hi, Mani. Hi, girls. Hi, Cav. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. Good night, Danara. Hi, Shamari. Hi, Jemmy. Jamoy. Hi, Sarika. You guys can open up your mics and tell us hi. You don't have to be so shy. Hi, Vanessa. Shavana.
Hi.
Hi. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
They're making it home stretch. We're on the home stretch.
Absolutely. We're on the home stretch. Tell us what's going on. Are you guys excited? This is the last weekend coming up. You have any questions about what's going to happen? If you do, you have to come on tomorrow night. Kevin and I are going to reveal all secrets tomorrow night. Hello.
They're saying they're going back in the student mode.
All right. Yeah, they're going back into the student mode. Okay. All right. Hi, Manine. Welcome again. Manine isn't a stranger to anybody here. Not at this stage. Manine is like one of the team. But before we go any further, I'm going to turn it over to you, Kev. You have a couple of things you want to do with the girls before?
Just run a couple of quick polls for them. Go.
Okay, lovely. Take it away.
They know the thing already, man. They're done.
Gone into Mentimeter already. Woo!
Right, I ran this one the night before, so run it again for us. One answer, not confident at all. Don't worry, tomorrow we'll run this again. So, tell us how you're doing after tomorrow. We give you all the information. So click in the chat and let us know how confident are you about your final round presentation. I'm expecting some very confident and some somewhat confidence.
Come on, you girls who are confident and very somewhat confident and very confident, you have to come jump in. Can't have a poll with just one person saying not confident at all, and then whoever said not confident at all, by the end of this, you're going to be very confident.
Nobody else? Oh, we have
nobody else? Nobody very confident? Come on, Gem Y and Shamari. Hello, you guys. You can't fool us. Jamoy, Shamari. We know you're all very confident. We got her very confident, finally. Gabriella is here. Hi, Gabriella.
Good night, Miss Bridget.
Yeah, just in time for our poll. How confident are you about your final round presentation?
Yes, just in time for the poll, Gabriella, to jump into Mentimeter and tell us. He's with Smarty Pants. What presentation? We have a presentation to do? Which Smarty Pants wrote that one?
Okay, I think that's about
it. Right. What's Shamari saying? No. Oh, it's loading. You haven't. It hasn't come up yet, Shamari. How come your laptop's so slow? You're going to have to actually be, you definitely have to be one of the winners, you know, so you can get a new laptop.
Okay, so for those who are not being facetious about my question about what presentation you have to do, come tomorrow night and you'll get a little more explanation about what you'll have to do, what you're required to go through tomorrow to go through on your final pitch, what you have to prepare for. So come tomorrow, same time, same channel, you'll get the information that you need. Right? I think that's it. We have 10 and we got 7, so I think we'll call it there.
Shamari, we're not donating you a laptop to you, you know, you have to work for it. Oh my gosh. You got to work for it, girlie.
And I asked this one again. Sure.
Okay.
I'm asking you all, how comfortable you all with the tools that you are working with? That's Rona. Right. So it's a really simple yes or no. So let us know how comfortable you are with what you're choosing to, if it's editing software, if it's
animation.
Yeah, if it's a storyboard software, if it's
combine modalities. Who just asked that? Somebody just asked if you can combine modalities. Of course, Shamari. So like, for instance, if you want to do a short film and introduce animation elements into your short film, that's great. Or if you want to do a music video and introduce animation, that's fine. If you want to introduce video into your vlogging, that's great.
Yeah. Rona, I just put up the poll. We're on the second poll. So let us know how comfortable you are with tools chosen to complete your hackathon. And again, these are good results. So it means that we've done our work so far. Maneen has done his job. Kwame has done his job. The others have done their jobs.
Wait, no, I clicked the wrong one. Shamari, you feeling all right? How do you mean you clicked the wrong one? You meant to click no, you're not comfortable with the tools?
So, you know, we always have an answer for everything that you all put, right? So if you're not comfortable with the tools, YouTube is a good friend.
YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, you have tutorials all day.
At the notice board, we have some great tools there too.
Yep. If you find something that isn't working too well for you, you could always try something else or combine bits and pieces of both or multiple pieces of software. Sometimes that has to work as well.
Yeah.
Right, so don't be daunted. Remember, like I said before, you all are 6 weeks learned new software and new techniques and stuff like that. You have learned a lot in the last few weeks. So give yourself a pat on the back because we acknowledge that you all have done a lot. If you didn't know about a lot of these things, you didn't know about what a photo storyboard is, now you know, and now you can actually move forward and make use of these things for future projects. You know, it could be school projects, it could be some internship. You never know where you might need these little skills.
Yeah. I'm sure Jamoy is going to be editing and going to film school.
All right, so we could hold there. I'll stop this share. And Bridget, I will bring up your favorite, and I think a lot of us, our favorite pool.
Our favorite.
And just give us some expectations of session that's coming up. Just give us a few buzzwords, you know, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling excited, if you're here to learn, if you're tired.
Tired.
Let us see. They want the answers. That's great too.
I know you may go into editing, of course, Shamari and Jamoy. Who was that? Jamoy who said, I may go into editing. I could tell you and Gabriella were like well engaged in the editing session yesterday. I'm expecting to be sitting in front of my TV at some point with you guys getting the Oscar award.
I will be next to them in the
You'll be in the
auditorium,
audience, right, Kev?
because I'm gonna make sure that I get a ticket.
I come into the after party.
Yeah. I was the one who started them off.
Exactly. I was there when they were just Jenny and Gabby.
Oh, you ain't going no Hollywood without me. So again, I mean, all of this is to have a lot of fun as well. We hope that you all have been having fun. It's been hard, we know. And if you saw some of the videos that we've been showing, we show those videos as well to inspire you all to know, look, I mean, we've been doing this for a while, and there are teams, like I said, who put through a lot of effort, but in the end, it's so worth it for some of them. I mean, you may feel the tiredness now and the achy bones, and you're not sure if you have everything right. Don't worry about it. You know, just come out there, have fun. Saturday and Sunday will be a lot of fun. You know, your judges, some of your judges, they're not bad people. They're just there to help you as well. So you'll have that nice Q&A section. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow, right? Yes, I am the great encourager, Gabriella. You got this. You all got this. I know you. And like I keep saying, I'm not being facetious. Like you're better than you were 2 months ago in January when you all started this. You didn't know nothing about this stuff.
Look how far you guys have come. Remember when we started out, how many teams did we have going into round one, Kevin?
Almost 100. And of those.
And you guys are the top 36.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, sticking it out so long. Having the perseverance. All right, so let's just get one more answer. I'm just waiting for one more. Gaining more info on Saturday to broaden my knowledge. Tips. Tired. Love tired. Tired is good. Excited. Hints. Answers. Ready. Meeting new people. Okay, that's nice. Yes. And yes, we hope to build a community as well, so you all can rely on each other. Who you wanna, if you're doing animation and you want somebody to do your music for you, wouldn't you look for the person who you know from hackathon, you know? Hey, can you come and do this music for me? Sure, of course. All right, so we can stop there, Bridge, and we can always continue.
Yeah, I think we're good to go and just kick off with Maneen.
Yep. Lovely. So thanks again, ladies, for your participation. And I will be quiet for a little while. And it's over to Bridget and Maneen.
All right. Hi, Maneen. Oh, I love those virtual backgrounds. You need to show me how to do that. I want one of those. I really do.
I'll show you.
Yeah, you have to show me. All right, so girls, we are in for a treat because once again, we have the ultimate techno creative, Maneen Marsh. And Maneen is truly the ultimate techno creative because he is totally a techie, right? He works for Quality Works Consulting Group, and your area of specialization now, Maneen, is design, brand development and design?
Product development and product design. Yeah.
Product development and design, right? And Maneen also, so he's definitely design. He enjoys developing, designing, innovating on concepts, and he is definitely focused on process improvement within the Caribbean tech space, of course. Oh, my video isn't on, so nobody's seen my expressions. So he's currently business development strategist at Quality Works Consulting Group. So he is leading agile test-driven software. Well, he's a part of the leading agile test-driven software company, Quality Works. And he also, on the side, well, I can't even say if it's on the side because it's a big part of his life, he is a musician. And so Maneen, as I said, is the ultimate techno-creative because Maneen uses his tech in his music and how he brings his music to life. So if there's anybody on who's doing music video, then you will be able to identify, because what I love about when Maneen is doing his workshops is that he uses his own experiences to bring forth any concepts he's trying to explain to you. So you guys are gonna get straight up live experiences from Maneen tonight. And I'm not gonna say much more because it's gonna be really exciting. Over to you, Maneen.
Sure. Okay, so good night, everyone. I think this is going to be our final session together before you all start collaborating on your own. Well, at least for me, I know you guys will be talking a lot. And so for tonight, I wanted to, I was looking at your responses about what you're looking for tonight, looking for answers. Good night, Gabriella, looking for tips. And I wanted to use tonight to follow up on last week's session, which is just helping you get your story, helping you be able to communicate your story in your pitch, in your presentation, and then walk you through merging your story onto a storyboard. And then finally, show you Animaker and Biteable, just a quick run through and then answer any questions that you might have about just bringing your story to life. How do I learn the tools, I understand the different techniques. How do I now create my own story using these tools? How do I turn that into a storyboard and then take my storyboard and putting it into one of these applications? So we're gonna go through that right now. The first thing I want to do is check in on the homework. I'm not sure, I know a lot of you are doing SBAs and IAs right now, so I don't even know if you got a chance to take a look at some of the tips I asked you guys to work on between the last session and this session. A quick reminder, I'll tell you what those were. So it was to, one, update your logline. Yes, Shamari, there was homework. And the logline was, as you tell me your story, express it in a way that is concise and clear. And we would have given you a format last week in terms of what that logline should sound like. An example of a logline from last week's example was my story for Climate Invaders. And it went, when a farm is overrun by climate invaders, 4 super farmers must act quickly to save their children's food. And the format was, there was something happening, there's some challenge, and there's a specific character that must overcome this challenge, or this thing will happen, right? And so I don't know if anyone got a chance. So I'll ask first, thumbs up, thumbs down. Did anybody get a chance to make any updates to their logline that they could share? Thumbs up if you did, thumbs down if you didn't.
Hi, good night, Mr.
Thanks,
Manning. I
Gabriella.
wasn't here for the last session, so tonight is actually my first session with you. So, yeah.
I mean, that's totally fine. What I'll do is I will kind of just like use the examples to reread the information. Do you know what the logline is though, Gabriella?
I mean, well, from what you just explained, I guess the storyline, I guess like the prompt, I don't know. That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, essentially that. So I want to make this session be very conversational. So anybody who wants to say anything like what Gabriella just did, feel free, because I'm going to address and I'll be reading the chat. But yeah, so one of the first things you're doing, especially when you're pitching and telling your story, right? you want to let the judges, let your friends, let your family, whoever it is that you want to be invested in your story, to understand what your story is about. And so for those of us who this is your first night, a log line is usually one of the things that we use in a presentation to pretty much tell the essence of the story, right? To get someone interested. And the format of that log line is usually starts with a conflict. So I'll write in the chat, start with a conflict. Right? When I'm finished writing out the sentence, I'll send the message. So I will share my screen so you can see one here. So my conflict in my story is when a farm is overrun by climate invaders. I am telling a story about climate change, and I want to tell a story using a farm, and I'm creating this fictitious monster called climate invaders, right? And that's my conflict, that's my issue. And so when you are telling your story, an interesting story has like a main issue that you want to address. Sometimes, especially when you only have like 5 minutes, 3 minutes to tell a story, if you can just focus on one thing, one conflict in your story that you want to talk about, that your story is going to be based on, and you can make that one thing interesting, then that would be a good way to open up the story or the storyline, right? So when you're putting together your story, knowing what your conflict is a good place to start. In the blue, you will see I'm introducing the main people, or my main characters, and what it is that they're trying to do, right? So as you have a conflict, then these people are trying to resolve that conflict. And so how I express that is I would say 4 super farmers must act quickly to save their children's food. And that does 2 things. One, it introduces 4 of the people in your story. In my case, it's super farmers. You can choose how you want to make your story interesting and make interesting characters. And what must those super farmers do? They must act quickly. Why? To save their children's food. That green part, all while singing their baby's favorite songs, so they do not wake up. Sometimes you want to add like a subplot or a sub story. So you'll have a main story and there's something else that's happening in your story to make things interesting. That part is optional, right? If you want to make a dynamic story, you can add that in the back of it. Like while they're trying to accomplish this, what else is going on, right, in the world? But if you want to keep it simple and keep it tight and focus on just a problem or just a story that you want to tell, you want to focus on the conflict, the characters, and what must they do and why must they do it, right? So I'll send that in the chat so we all have that format. And it's a good way to introduce your story to an audience without even revealing too much. Sometimes you don't want to tell exactly about the details of your story. So this is a good way to start. And like when you're even doing your presentation, having your log line in your presentation is a good way to get the judges interested before you show them your demo. So I said start with a conflict, introduce your character. What must they do? And why are they doing it? What must they do to resolve the conflict? What? So yeah, so I'm sending that in the chat for everyone. So Gabriella, you can let me know, was that helpful?
Yes, very much so. But I had a question, right? So this log line has to be included in the presentation or in the actual like intro of our presentation. That was just my question.
So it would be a tip that I'm giving you to say, you're going to tell the judges, so you have to tell the judges what your story is about, right? The log line is a good way to do that.
Okay,
does that make sense?
cool. Yeah, definitely. Okay, I get it.
So that's pretty much it. So you're gonna have to tell them, right, what your story is, but you only have 5 minutes. So instead of spending the whole time trying to come up with a story on the spot or come up with an explanation of your story on the spot, the logline format is a good way to say, hey, this is who I am, this is my team, and my story is about, and let me go right into it, right? Hi, my name is Manin, and my story is called Climate Invaders. When a farm is overrun by climate invaders, 4 super farmers must act quickly to save their children's food, all while singing their baby's favorite song so they do not wake up. And this is a demo of my story. Like, that's one example of just going into it. And that took me, I don't know, a minute. And we can always find ways to beef it up a little bit. So I will,
30 seconds, actually.
30 seconds, right? Just by going into it and getting the judges to be like, yeah, okay, I get it. I'm interested now, right? So that's tip 1, right? Tell your story using a logline. Since some of us are new, I'm going to be using the first half of this session to talk about some of the tips that I've given in the past, but this time specifically in the context of how does it work in your pitch, right? So the next thing the next part of the homework outside of the logline was your vision. Being able to express the vision, like the why behind your choosing to tell this story, right? Now, I did see someone say that, yes, thumbs up, I did do my log line. So I'll be coming to you to ask you to show me what your log line is. But for the second part of the homework, did anybody get a chance to do any work on their vision? And just for a quick reminder, your vision does 2 things. It will tell the judges or your friends or whoever you're communicating this to, who you're making this video for. It will tell them what type of video you're making, your modality, and it will also communicate your goal. What are you trying to accomplish, right? How do you know that you're successful? Now, did anybody thumbs up get a chance to work on any of this? Thumbs up if you did, thumbs down if you didn't. Make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Participants. I don't know if I missed the thumbs up or thumbs down. Was there any response, Bridget? Are you guys still with me? Okay, thumbs down.
Sorry, Medina, I was talking and you couldn't hear me. Yes, girls, okay. Did anybody, have you guys covered any of this in your stories so far? Like, you know, what's your goal? What are you trying to achieve? Who are the people that you're trying to make more aware of the issue that you're trying to solve? Okay.
Do you want to say some of
it? Because remember, this is your story, you know, that you're now taking this and you're bringing it to life through the modality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your story should be pretty much set, and you just basically tightening it up now.
Right. But some of it is fine, and if you haven't done any of it, it's also fine. I know you've been working through it in your head and working through it with your team. So what I'm doing is giving you some tips to actually, how do I put my idea and my story down into my presentation, so that when I play my demo, when I play my video, the judges have all the information they need to fill in the blanks, because sometimes you may not even get a chance to do the full version of your idea, right? Maybe you only get to do the first minute of it, the first 2 minutes of it. Maybe you only get to do a high level version of it. But if you had time and you were an expert, you would have had actors, you know, enlisted in your movie. So in the absence of all of that, being able to write down your goals and your vision at least give the judges a chance to fill in the blanks for you and understand where you're going. So regarding the vision, how does that work in your presentation? That would come sometimes either before or after your log line, depending on how you want to flow with it, right? So you introduce yourself, right? I'd say, hi, I am a Maneen, and I'm working on an animated video. My animated video is for parents who want their children to eat healthy, right? I'll pause there because some of us may want to, before even introducing the vision, may want to talk about their actual category. So another way to start would be, hi, I'm Maneen, and I am doing climate change, right? And I'm doing an animated video for parents who want their children to eat healthily. Or an animated story will use, you can, at this point, I will say this is where either your log line goes, or if it is that you're using something else, you can list out just what makes your story interesting. So I have here, or animated story uses catchy, friendly songs to break down how food is impacted by climate change. That's you telling us what it is that makes your story interesting. That's you telling us what it is that you're doing in your story to make it fun. Some people may even have a website, or animated story will link to a website that will allow people to sign up for sign up for a charity. Like just here you get a chance to tell people what it is that you're trying to get people to do, what it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? And so again, you start, hi, I'm Gabriella, and we're doing a story about gender-based violence, and it will be an animated video for parents who want their children to know more about gender inequalities in the workplace, for example. Or animated story uses catchy, kid-friendly songs to break down how women or men are impacted by gender-based violence. That's an example of you communicating your vision. So I'll pause here and open the floor for any questions that you might have. Okay, good. I'm glad you get it. Okay, Gabriella. So great. So these are ways that you can give clarity to your story to let people know what you're doing, why you're doing it before you even show them your video, right? You'll get maybe a minute, depending on how long your video is, a minute and a half to go through your story, to go through the demo, and you want to make sure that you understand exactly what you're trying to accomplish, right? So all that put together sounds something like this. Before I do that, I do want to take some time to rehash again what the goal is. So in your vision, you will want to let the audience know how will they, how do you know that you're successful, right? What are you trying to accomplish? How will they know that, or rather, what are you trying to accomplish at the end of your video? What are you trying to get people to do? So in this techno-creative space, a lot of times art is used to get people to do something. And you're learning to use your art, your creativity, and technology to drive change in some particular way. It's very important that when you're communicating your vision and communicating your story and demoing your product, that you can also let them know what it is that you're trying to accomplish, right? In this case, my example, I'm trying to raise awareness and I'm trying to get parents to take action. For awareness, I'm trying to inform 100 parents of the growing impact that climate change has on a child's diet. And the action that I want them to take is I want to get parents to do $10,000 to a charity for climate change. So those are examples of putting your, letting people know what your goal is when you're trying to explain your product, right? So, or your idea. So I'm gonna, since a lot of us, this is kind of new information for some of us, I'm just gonna quickly just walk through an example presentation that I did, using all the things that I just talked about so that you can see it in action, right? So here goes. Hi everyone, I'm Maneen and I'm from Team Climate Change. And my idea or my story is called Sing for Plants. Now my topic is climate change. And the issue that I'm trying to solve is that parents are not aware of how climate change is impacting their children's food. Here you can put a little fact if you'd like to add some credibility to what you're saying. So my example is, did you know that warmer temperatures are diminishing or nutrients? In 2019, over 144 million children under the age of 5 were impacted by malnutrition due to growing effects of climate change. My idea will be an animated video for parents who want their children to eat healthily. Our animated story uses catchy, kid-friendly songs to break down how food is impacted by children, by climate change. In your example, it could be our animated story will connect to our website that will teach people how to just teach people the impacts of gender-based violence. Or animated story will be geared at helping teenagers understand that you're not alone in the world. Here you get to just let people know in a very quick sentence what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what is unique about your story, the why are you doing it. Our goal here is to raise awareness. We want to inform 100 parents of the growing impact that climate change has on a child's diet. And we want to get parents to donate $10,000 to a charity for climate change. In our story is that when a farm is overrun by invaders, 4 super farmers must act quickly to save their children's food, all while singing their baby's favorite songs so they do not wake up. This was made by, and so in the presentation from here, you can then say, and this is what it looks like, or here's an example of a demo, and you can just present or show the modality. So I'll pause here because I know I kind of went through this a lot because I'm trying to make sure that I give you guys enough time to ask questions. But any questions from the team right now regarding everything that I just walked you through?
Okay, so I have a question. So we would have had to present a presentation similarly to the one you just presented in the first pitch actually. So is it that we presented the same thing that we would have presented in the first pitch, or we just kind of supplementing the extra information, like we adding it in the second pitch? That's my question.
So for the second pitch, you are supplementing information. So the main things that you're gonna be representing, because you're gonna have to assume that the judge you're presenting to is maybe different from the judge you presented to in round 1. Right? So in round 2, when you are opening, you're still gonna have to tell them what it is that you're doing. You're still gonna have to tell them your topic. And my recommendation is to also just quickly just tell them what your vision is. And so with that, you will be able to give a new judge enough context so that you can show them your story. So your full presentation is gonna be 5 minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bridget?
Yeah, we said what we would do is we'd give them a minute at the front end to do the intro that you're talking about, Maneen, so that if it is a new judge, the judge will still have, I mean, obviously what's missing in round 1, you had to make up for with slides of information. The good thing is that for round 2, your solution is going to be speaking to the judges. So you don't have to have all of the slides and all of the examples because your solution is bringing that to life. But you will have a minute at the front end to cover off the things that Maneen spoke to. Like, who am I? You know, what is this solution that I am working on? So I'm working on a solution for, you know, reducing plastic in our oceans. And I'm going to be telling that story using animation. And I'm targeting girls between the ages of 18 to 23 years old or something like that. And that gives, it kind of sets the judges up for what they're about to see. Now, make sure that what they see is not in conflict with what you just said.
Right. Yep. So yes, you can definitely use the same presentation from the first pitch. And you can use some of the tips that I'm giving you to tighten it up so you don't end up spending 2-3 minutes explaining yourself, right?
1 minute.
So 1 minute. So you get 1 minute. You get 1 minute to start and say, "Hey, this is who I am. We're Team Climate Change. This is our idea, and our topic is climate change." And parents, we're doing this because parents are not aware of how climate change is impacting their children's food. We're doing an animated video, and it's gonna be for parents who want their children to eat healthily. And our animated story will use catchy, kid-friendly songs to break down how food is impacted by climate change. Our goal is to raise awareness, and we want to inform 100 parents of the growing impact that climate change has on a child's diet. We want to get parents to donate $10,000 to a charity for climate change. In today's story, in my video, when a farm is overrun by invaders, 4 super farmers must act quickly to save their children's food, all while singing their baby's favorite song so they do not wake up. And this is an example of that story. Or this is a video representing that story. Or this is a demonstration of that story. And you just click play and it does the rest. Flash speed. So if we're doing an animated video, it has to be 4 minutes. So let's clarify this. My initial thought is you get 1 minute to present and 4 minutes for the video, or is it less than that?
It's 1 minute at the top end. It's 1 minute at the top end, and you do have 5 minutes, but you don't have to use all 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes maximum for your actual modality. So if it's 3 minutes and you use 1 minute to talk about what it is that the judges are about to see, then that's fine. Doesn't have to be
so
as you need.
So that's what they want to clarify. So Gabriella, I'm gonna say that the total is 6 minutes.
Yes.
No, the total is 5 minutes. Is it 5 or 6? It's
a minute.
5, right?
Well, we told them that it would be 5 minutes for their modality only.
Okay. So yes, Gabriella.
To that, you have 5 minutes for your modality and a minute for your intro. That's 6 minutes. And then maybe 5 minutes at the back end for the judges to ask questions. Everybody good on?
So, yeah. You said 5 minutes for Q&A at the back end?
Yes.
Okay. So there we go. So remember, you're not no pressure to make sure that your modality is 5 minutes in total. It can be less, but yes, 1 minute for your intro, 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes for the modality itself. And then you may have up to 5 minutes for the Q&A.
Yeah.
All right, so I hope we got some clarity there. And again, remember to use your tools. Your logline is there to help you easily, quickly get your introduction into 1 minute. And your vision and goal allows you to tell the judges why you're telling this story and who you're telling this story for. All right, so I'm going to move on to the actual storyboarding. Before I do that, do we have any more questions regarding getting your introduction, getting your story told concisely, so that you can fit it into your pitch.
No, so far following. So far we're good.
You don't want to use the exact PowerPoint.
Okay, good. So we're crystal clear.
Yeah. So Shavana is asking, do we use the PowerPoint from round one? No, because then you're not going to have enough time. Remember, you had 5 minutes to use that PowerPoint to tell the judges about your concept. You're not
So
going to
excuse me, Ms. Bridget, can we condense it? Can we use the same, so we would have had like a color, like a color coding, I guess you could say. Can we just condense what we would have had in the first presentation? Because it's essentially the same thing that Manin just presented on. We basically had that in our presentation, and I understand what you're saying, where it would have been longer, the first presentation. So can we just condense the information then?
Yes, you can, as long as you hit on the main points and you're giving remember, this time you're only giving the judges an overview, because your modality, whatever your solution is supposed to be telling your story, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Even when Manin said our stories when a farm is overrun, some people may decide to incorporate all of that into the actual animation, and it opens up with, somebody saying, oh, our farm has been overrun by invaders.
Yeah. Understood. Yeah, I get it. Just yes, definitely. Thanks for that, Miss Bridget.
You're welcome.
All right, good. So I'm glad we're all on the same page now. So I want to turn to the person who said that they were able to do their log line, because I want to use that to transition into the next session. So can I hear one of your log lines?
Hello, anybody has a log line that they want to share?
Okay, that is fine. If we're okay, Rona is preparing herself to speak. Okay. Take your time, drink some water. It's just us.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So William, a non-believer of gender-based violence, gets a sudden realization that it exists, and he gains the ability to see the abuse of 5 women. Will he ignore their suffering and be driven to insanity by the voices in his head, or use it to save these women from their abusers and themselves?
Okay, it was a bit muffled, but I want to hear it again. I'm gonna put my speaker closer to my ears. Okay, one more.
William, a non-believer of gender-based violence, gets a sudden realization that it exists, and he gains the ability to see the abuse of 5 women. Will he ignore their suffering and be driven to insanity by the voices in his head, or use it to save these women from their abusers and themselves?
That's an interesting story. And that's a really good log line, Rona. Okay. I'm not sure if everybody else got a chance to hear that. But I think it had all the essence of a good log line. It had a conflict, it had something that we must do to resolve that conflict, and a character that now has some interesting story. So good job, Rona. Put yourself on the back. I'll do it for you. I have another one by Sarika. She sent it to me a text. Sarika, do you want me to read it, or do you send it to me personally? Okay, so I can read it. Sarika says, when a news broadcast of two teenagers being attacked by robbers airs on television, a group of concerned citizens stand out against gender-based violence. And I like this too. Yeah. So let's see. When a news broadcast of two teenagers being attacked by robbers air on television, a group of concerned citizens stand out against gender-based violence. The only tip I would say is if they don't stand out, like what are they trying to accomplish or what are they trying to prevent? Right. So how I would tweak that is stand out against gender-based violence to protect their community, for example, or stand out against gender-based violence to save their daughters. Or so it's really just the why. Just what is it that's motivating them? So we have the conflict, which is a new broadcast of two teenagers being attacked by robbers, and it airs on television. A group of concerned citizens stand out against gender-based violence because. Does that make sense, Sariko? Yeah. Okay. So, and that's for everybody else who's working on how do I make my story interesting. We got two really good log lines, and feel free to try your own, incorporate it in your presentation so that the judges can, at the very beginning, before even seeing your presentation, before even seeing your modality, can go, yeah, this is interesting, right? And using those formats or that format will help you do that. Okay, so jumping into the next session, I want to focus on the storyboard. So once you have your log line, the next thing you want to do is to tell your story in a very particular sequence. And for those of us who weren't here last week, the storyboard is really like a comic book version of how your story will move from point A to point B, right? And it sometimes can have dialogue, but it will also have just like a summary of each scene in your story, right? Now, the last session that we've had, I did ask the team to put together their storyboard using 5 bullets, right? It would open with how their story starts, what happens next, what happens next, what happens next, what happens next, and how does that get to the goal? Now, remember, we're all trying to get to a particular goal in our stories, right? In this case, with my Climate Invader story, I'm trying to inform parents of the growing impact that climate change has on a child's diet. And so when I'm coming up with my story using my log line, the first thing I want to do is ask the question, how does my story start? Now, when you're doing this by yourself, sometimes it's easy for you to just write the story out. But when you're doing that with a team, you may need techniques to help you and your team members work together to tell that story. One way to do that is to write out these 5-point bullets, where everyone on the team will agree how the story starts. So the story starts with we'll agree on a starting, right? And you guys can sit and talk about, what opening excites you, right? Once you all agree on a start, you would have also agreed on the goal. We're trying to inform parents of the growing impact that climate change has on a child's diet. What you're trying to do with your story is walk through how do you move from this start to your goal, right? In my example, what I chose to do was write this out using this format right here. So you'll see it on my on the screen. And I'll give you an example of a 5-point storyboard. So story starts with the sun setting on a beautiful farm. Tired farmer parents finally put to bed after having a meal from the farm. Suddenly, a loud boom is heard from outside as a spaceship crashes into the farm. The farm is invaded by invaders from the spaceship who uses climate powers to damage the food on the farm. Parents spring into action with their eco-friendly superpowers to save the farm without waking their baby. Now, the goal here to inform parents of the growing impact that climate change has on a child's diet. So that's an example of a storyboard, but there's something wrong here where the last scene doesn't necessarily clearly connect to my goal. And it's very important that as you're going through your storyboard, that it is able to inform parents of the growing impact that climate change has on a child's diet. So in this case, I would say with their informative, eco-friendly superpowers to save the farm without waking their baby. And the reason why I do this is because your storyboard is supposed to act as a guide. So when you're actually putting your story together, when you get to this scene, which is the last scene, you know that what you're trying to do is to get some way communicate the eco-friendly superpowers in an informative way, because you're informing the parents of the impact that the climate change has on a child's diet. And this is just doing this using using 5 points. So one of the first things that you want to do when you're coming to, okay, how do I lay out my story, is to try to write your story from point 1, from where it starts to the goal in 5 points. And everybody on the team would get a chance to do that on their own. So once you agree on where it starts and where you're trying to get to, then everyone on the team would get a chance to contribute. How do they think the story should go? And feel free to do this individually. You don't necessarily need to collaborate just yet. Just feel free to think and imagine, because once you are able to do this, then the next step is to merge the best ideas into a 15 card storyboard. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you are able to increase this to up to 15 cards. And once you have your flow from start to finish to get into your goal, then you can move to adding images to make your storyboard look something like this, right? This is using 10 cards where you have images and you have your text to show how your storyboard will flow from opening to end. And for some of us, if we're doing photo storyboarding as a modality, then we'd use tools to animate this storyboard. If animation is our modality, then we would use this as a guide to actually build our animation. We'll know that our animation opens with the sun setting on a beautiful farm. We'll know that our animation will then move into tired farmers, finally putting their baby to bed, and that will be your guide for our storyboard. So the point is, start by writing it down from point 1 to point 5, and then merge your ideas, and I'll show you how to merge. And then you can actually start using images to showcase that story. And I'll do that in a second. So I have another log line here from Shamari. Her story says, Catherine's watch activates a hidden function when it's triggered by a traumatic event. Catherine is now aware that her watch is really linked to a hidden website. When she explores the website, she becomes equipped with methods to help victims cope with gender-based violence and decides to help victims around her. So I do like this story. I think it may be hard to say when you are in your presentation. How I would tweak this is, I would say, let's see. Catherine's watch activates a hidden function when it's triggered by a traumatic event. Great opening. Now aware that her watch is linked to a hidden website, she explores this website to help victims cope with gender-based violence and decides to help all the victims around her. So that's a way to just like easily concise it, saying the same thing, but just like taking out some of the extra content so that you can actually fit it in your presentation. I hope that was helpful, Shamari. Show the picture illustration again. Yeah, I will show the picture illustration one more time. So before I jump into, so we went over vision, we went into logline, we're now at the actual storyboard. I want to ask a question regarding the storyboard. So I don't know how many of us were here last week, but would you be able to do a storyboard right now? Just a 5-point storyboard? Thumbs up if you can, thumbs down if you actually don't know what your story is yet, or you're not ready to actually do your storyboard. Hello? So Gabriella said our modality is actually a music video. So to be honest, the storyboard will help with your music video as well. So even your music video will have an opening and will have a goal, right? And so when you're working on your music video, a way to get everybody to be on the same page in your music video is to start with a storyboard for that music video. And I'll give you an example. So I had to do a music video myself. And in order for us to get to execute it, we didn't have a lot of money. So we had to actually do a storyboard for that music video so that we didn't waste time aimlessly recording things, right? So in our planning, we actually did 2 things. And some of you might have seen this before, where we did a storyboard and a mood board, or sometimes we call it a treatment, right? And what we did with our storyboard was, after we had our main 5 points, like what are the 5 main points of our storyboard, we then broke that down into a longer storyboard when we wanted to tell our story, and no more than 15 cards for that storyboard. And we just simply sketched out each scene. So I'll show you an example of what that looks like. So we wanted to open the scene with a close shot of me waking up, my face filling the frame. Then I would go to the bathroom, and then I would go to my fridge. I would put some things in my bag, part of my terribly drawing, and then there'll be a car that will reveal me walking down the street, right? And all of this was to tell the story of this rude boy who met a girl, and that girl gave him a reason to believe in love, right? So being able to sketch that out allowed us to actually put the story together. And I'll show you what that looked like in real life. Where, as I said before, or modality or storyboard was to open with me on the bed. Let's see if this can make it. Close up of my face. Go into the bathroom. Go into the fridge. Put stuff in my bag. Car reveals it. So I show that to show you that in the industry of film, in the industry of making anything visual, yeah, right? Making anything visual, the storyboard is the guide for everybody. Like we use the storyboard as a way for the team to know exactly what they're going to be working on. And it will save you time so that when you're actually working on the tool, you're not making the story in the tool. You're just using the tool to execute the plan that you made. So over the next couple of weeks, I don't know how much, Bridget, how much time do they have to get their modality finished?
A few days.
Okay. So especially you only have a few days, right? So over the next few days, what you want to do is take a couple. Shamari laughing at me. Over the next few days, what you want to do, especially if you haven't like tightened up your story, is you want to just take some time, and this could take an hour with your team to like write out your story from start to finish. And you want to start with 5, right? With 5 points, right? This is how it starts. Let's say Gabriella and Shamari are on the same team, right? Gabriella and Shamari will say, my story we will agree that it starts this way. Story starts with the sun setting on a beautiful farm. And you will agree on what your goal is. Your goal is to inform parents of the growing impact that climate change has on a child's diet. Gabrielle, thank you. And essentially, you want to just write out in 5 bullet points, just like this, scene by scene, how do you move from the start to get to the goal, right? And when you do that, you may end up having different ideas. And what you can simply do is use the different ideas to merge your scenes together. So sometimes, let's say, the second scene was a fire, right? Maybe Gabrielle said she wants a fire for the second scene. And Shamari says that, oh, it's a loud boom. You guys can use the storyboard to puzzle it together, to lay it out until you get to a full storyboard. And the rule that I would tell you is that you want to have no more than 15. I think he confused us. You want to have no more than 15 points for your story so that you can actually execute it. If you can tell your story using 10 points, that's great, but no more than 15. Okay. So once you have it written out, I'm sorry that you didn't get a chance to be here last week, so you could have written it out with me last week and done it. But I did have a backup. Once you have it written out, your storyboard will look something like this without the images, right? So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 10, and you'll have your actual points from point how it opens to how it ends. And the next thing you want to do is really to use what we had talked about last week, which is mood boarding, which is just finding examples of what it is that your thing will look like to represent your story. Right? You can use images, and last week I showed you examples like pixels. All of this, if you read you watch last week's video, you will see those examples. You can use all of those kind of walk through and represent your story. And if you're doing photo storyboarding, that's where this comes in handy, because you can use photo storyboarding to lay out your story from point 1 to point 10. But if you're not using photo storyboarding and you're doing animation, or you're doing a docudrama or vlogging or music video for your modality, you don't need to do this. You can just do what we did, which is draw our stickman to just lay out the idea of the scene from point 1 to point 10 to get to the goal, and use that to guide the actual story, to guide the actual animation. So I'll pause here for questions, because the next part of this is to actually look at the tools that we can use to bring or animation to life or storyboard to life if we're doing photo storyboarding. But I want to open to questions because I know you guys have been introduced to some tools before. So I want to open the floor. So Gabrielle, Shamari, first of all, let me just do a check-in to everybody. Like, let me know thumbs down if you're lost or confused, or thumbs up if you're following what we're talking about and understanding the storyboarding and how it helps. Good, good. All right, great, great, great. So we're all here with us, all good. So any questions? All right, no questions. All right, cool. So I do want, so Gabrielle, I will ask you to volunteer somebody because I want someone to let me hear their 5-point storyboard.
Volunteer, anyone?
Anyone?
Lee James?
Okay, Lee James, can you hear me? According to answer your question, Shamari, given Bridget's response earlier, yes, you could merge photo storyboard into your modality. Bridget, anything, any clarity that you'd want to say to that?
No, that's it. They can put together a photo storyboard, and for certain messaging, you can use more animation. So it would almost be like an animated comic type, I think you would say.
Right, exactly. So if it is that you don't get to finish the main video and you want to merge photo storyboarding into your modality, as Bridget just said, it would be accepted if you're able to do it as an animated storyboard. And I will show you how to do an animated storyboard today. Yes, an animated comic. Now, so this only works if you know what your logline is, because especially without the full animated video for whatever reason, if you don't, you will, it's going to be super important that you can communicate what your story is in a logline, what your vision is, and then represent that story using photo storyboarding as your modality if you haven't been able to finish the animation, or using the storyboard as a guide to help you do your animation quickly. So those are the two uses of the storyboarding in this cases. You can animate it to use it as a modality, or you can use it as a guide so you and your team can go through the story board quickly. So Lee James, you were nominated. I know, but I need to make sure that you actually can speak or type. So can you hear me, Lee James? Okay, I'm not sure if Lee James is with us. So I'm going to pick on someone who sent me a logline. I'm going to say Sarika. Can you hear me? Okay, good. So Sarika, oh, by the way, your messages are only coming to me, Sarika, so no one else can see that you're responding. So Sarika, yeah, so I'm gonna say type out your 5-point storyboard, and I'll come back to you, and we can hear it. Is there anybody else here who's on your team? And anybody else can speak. If you're on Sarika's team, you know.
Here.
Okay. Yes. So if you're on Sarika's team, I'm gonna ask you to work with Sarika to come up with a 5-point storyboard. The instruction will be you and Sarika must agree on how the story starts, and you must agree on what your goal is. And the other 4 points in terms of how your story flows based on your log line is up to you. Does that make sense? Hello? Okay, good. All right. All right, so I'll check in with you. And if you're able to do that, then you will be at least 1 step closer to finishing your actual story flow before even putting it into your tool or your animated platform. So, all right, so in the meantime, while that's happening, let's just cover what we've talked about so far. So as you prepare for your presentation, putting your story together, you want to introduce yourself. You want to talk about what you're doing it, and you want to talk about what you're targeting. So you want to introduce yourself. You want to talk about your topic, and you want to talk about why you're doing what you're doing. You know, you want to introduce your vision, your goal, and your story, right? And when telling your story, to help you and your team put your story together, using a storyboard is a good way to have a cohesive story that flows. So you'll have your log line, you know what you're trying to accomplish in your log line, you know what your goal is, and you know where you start, and you want to use in 5 points, how do I get to my endpoint in my story? Now, once you have that 5-point storyboard, you can then expound that to fill in the middle, and you have up to 15 slides or 15 points to fill in the middle between moving from point 1 to point 2, point 3, right? And you can lay that out like this or like this, right? Depending on how you want to do it. But let's say we're moving into taking my storyboard and moving it from my terrible drawings over to using images that I can use. I'm going to introduce you to some tools that I've been using to help with that. The tools I'm going to introduce you to is Animaker, Undraw, and Biteable. I'll also introduce you to Pexels, Flat Icon, and you guys know Canva and Google. So starting with Pexels. Yes. So Pexels, if it is that you're looking for stock photos, that's fine, Tamari. If you're looking for stock photos to put your storyboard together, you can use pexels.com to get really good free stock photography. You can also use Google for sure. But Pexels has good stock photography. You can search for what you're looking for. And you can just download what you're looking for. And you can use that to create your photo storyboard, right? If you're looking for icons, maybe you're doing an animated platform and you want icons, you can use flaticon.com. And flaticon.com similarly allows you to search for icons, and you can use those icons in your modality. And finally, similar to Flat Icon, you have Undraw. You can also use Undraw to get additional icons. You can search for icons, and you can use those icons in your modality. Now, the next tool I'm going to show you is one tool that you can use to quickly create animated storyboards and to also create animated videos. Right? That's Animaker. So starting with the animated storyboarding, the tool I'm going to talk about is Biteable.com, B-I-T-E-A-B-L-E. And how that works, it allows you to use their templates or create a blank video from scratch, right? So I'm going to show you the templates first. So you may be looking for something. I think my internet is running a bit slowly, but let's say you may be looking for something that is primarily going to be text or people. Maybe you like the style. If you see a video and you like the style, you can simply click edit video. I think we're having some internet problems today on my side. Oh, okay. All right, so you can use edit video and it will give you several scenes that you can choose from. Go. Yeah, we'll give you several scenes that you can choose from to make a video. And you can choose these scenes, you can change the text, you can move the people, and you can even upload your own images to make an animated comic strip, just moving from one scene to the next scene, all right? So I did put one together, but this is just an example of what's in the application. But for example, taking this storyboard, so you would have figured out your images, figured out your text, what do you want it to say, and how do I make this flow into a story? What I did was use Biteable to put something together. And the same text that I used to create my 5 points became the text for the video. And the images that I had on my storyboard became the background image for my video. And I was able to use Biteable to set different images, different effects. So to zoom in on one particular part or to make different text changes by clicking down here. And when I play my video, I'm able to move through my animated storyboard. You can also add your own audio. Maybe you want to voice note it. Maybe you want to use your voice to narrate the storyboard. You can also narrate your text. This is a high-level version of using Biteable, and you can always look into Googling this. It's a very simple tool to animate your photo storyboard. I did show this last week, so I don't want to necessarily go into it too much. You can watch the video of me showing this tool last week. The other tool I want to show you that I didn't get to show you last week is Animaker, that allows you to make a bit more allows you to make, I would say, stronger or more compelling animated storyboards or animated videos. So I'll pause here though and see if anybody has any questions about putting together their storyboard and animating that storyboard. All right, good. No questions. All right. So this is kind of the last section that I wanted to show you. Hopefully you guys can use these tips to speed up your workflow. But finally, I wanted to show you Animaker. Now, Animaker is a tool that you can use to create animated storyboards as well as to create animated videos. It is free. The free videos will have this watermark, and videos are okay with watermarks in them. So remember my storyboard saying, back to Climate Invaders, I wanted my story to start with the sun setting on a beautiful farm. Knowing that that's how I want to start, you can use a tool like Animaker to quickly find a background. And I can search farm. And it will give you a farm background that you can use. And if you want it to have a sun, you can also search for a sun as a image or a video or an item as a property. And drag your sun. And you can choose how you want your item to behave. Right? So you can say you want it to, so again, I won't spend the whole time to go through this. You can always play around with the tool. But for example, you can choose how you want your son to enter the scene. And you can feel free to just have fun playing around with something like Animaker. Right? Everything, your properties and your backgrounds are here. And one of the most important things is trying to figure out how do I create my characters. You can also create your own characters over here by clicking the plus side, create your own character. If you're doing something about gender-based violence, you can select that. You can create somebody and you can start customizing that character. Changing their face, changing their hair. And one of the powerful things about that, I created my person, my male character, is that now once you've created your character and put them on your scene and everything is drag and drop, you can choose using Animaker what you want your character to do. So if your character is surprised, you can search surprised and you can click and your character will behave surprised. If you want to use, maybe that character is running because the scene requires them to be scared, you can have your character run. So all of this is just drag and drop. And so putting this all together, once you have written out your storyboard and you decided what you want to be happening in each scene, you can use tools like Animaker to actually just type in and fill in the gaps of what each scene should look like. And if you have team members that you're collaborating with and they have their 5 points and your team member has their 5 points, you can then take time to fit the points together. And then you can start with the first part. Story starts with the sun setting on a beautiful farm. You can use Animaker. You can find a scene that has a farm and has the sun setting. And if you want to add text, you can click the T to add text. And So you'll see ones that are free and one that isn't. You can just use that to write out your scene to say, let's delete that. Let's do the simple one. Okay, there we go. We start our story on a beautiful farm.
Manine, is it possible to introduce sound?
Oh yeah, for sure. So
could you have somebody actually saying, we start our story on a beautiful farm?
So how that works is that Animaker has different ways to do that, right? So one way of doing that is you can record these on your phone using your voice notes, save them to your computer, and then you can upload it from your computer, right? That's one way of doing it. Animaker also has, is that you or somebody else? Oh, that's me. Yeah. So if it is that you want to upload things to the to Animaker, let me just. One second. Trying to find the upload content. Let me just do a quick search here because it's not working for me. And I'm gonna share this link with you too, just in case you want to use Animaker. I found the answer. So I'm just sending you this link just in case you want to figure out how to upload your own assets to Animaker. I just found it. So you go to.
The screen is kind of frozen, Manine, is that?
Okay. There we go. So to answer your question, Bridget, about adding your own sound, you have a little microphone option right here called a voiceover, right? And you can click that. You can either upload a voiceover or you can record the voiceover right to your computer, right? And so you can simply just say, allow, let's see here. Time. Okay, so we start, or I'm trying to make sure it's recorded. Oh, there we go. Okay, so walking that through again, I apologize for this, but my laptop is moving a bit slowly. But if you want to upload your voiceover, you can upload it on your computer, and you can upload the voiceover directly from your computer. Or, and I'd ask you to try this on your computer, you can record the voiceover yourself by clicking this record button. I apologize, I'm unable to demonstrate this properly because my laptop is being weird. You can also, you have a text-to-speech function. You can also type, start, or story. I'm not beautiful. Farm. And you can choose if it's a male or female, and you can play that. Not sure if you're able to
We
hear.
start our story on a beautiful farm.
Not sure if you're able to hear that. Or you can
Yes.
make it a female.
Yeah,
We
can
start
hear
our
it.
story on a beautiful farm.
So you do have different ways of letting it not just be text, just add your own voice. I really wish I could have shown you the voice option myself, but okay, so it's kind of working, but it's not working for me this second. But I'd say try it on your own. Maybe when I turn off Zoom and not use my Microsoft microphone on the call, it will work. But again, once you have your storyboard, you can use a tool like Animator to put your story together, right? And as Bridget suggested, it could just be you using your voice option to record it yourself, or you can use text to speech. And over here, you can add new scenes. You can add as many scenes as you want, and just like get creative and use your storyboard as your guide.
Can you also use background music?
Yes, you can also use background music. So this icon here, music, is your background music. You'll have different options here to add background music. Knowing that you're using the free version, you're not going to have access to all music. So these things are the star won't have you won't have access to them. But if you want to upload your own music, you do have the upload function. And I did send a video showing you how to upload sent a link just now showing you how to upload into Animator.
Question as well, if they have their own graphics, so like some of the girls are artists and they've created their own main character, can you upload that character into Animator?
So when you say upload so if you have all your assets already, I would recommend using Bytable. But when you say well, so let me.
So like if we're talking about the farmer, they've already sketched their farmer.
Oh, sure. So you do have images that you can also upload. So let me actually just look at
Now
the
click
option
upload
here.
to upload the
Let me just once and for all look at the upload function. I'm just looking to demonstrate this for you. There we go. So to answer all your questions regarding uploading, so on this icon, on this bar, if you scroll down, you'll see an upload option. Couldn't find it just now. And you can upload anything you need into Animator. So I don't have a character I've designed, but I imagine you save them as images. You can upload your image into Animator. And let me go back on my scene. You'll see your uploads here, and you can drag that into it as well. Right. And you can choose if you want that to be animated in any particular way. The only thing I'd say is if you are uploading your own images into Animaker, the features that allows you to animate a character will not be applicable to that image. You can only animate characters that you make in Animaker. So if you want your character to cry, you'd have to draw that character crying. But if it's a case where you haven't made your images already and you want a tool that you can use to make those images and animate those images for you, I would recommend Animaker as a good tool that you can use to play around, learn, and use it to make animated videos to tell your story. And you can use the upload function to upload your images, upload your music. If you want your voice in it, you can also just click this media icon and upload your own voice. And you also have the option to make your character talk by clicking the character, clicking the voice icon. You can upload your voice, or you can do text to speech. Hi, my name is Manin, and you click sync, and you can get your character.
Hi, my name is Manin.
To talk. So,
well, that's neat.
Yeah, so these are all just, the point of this tool is I know you guys are working on your story. You only have a little time left. As soon as you have your storyboard and you know from point A to point B where you want your story to go, you could use a tool like Animaker to create your scene storyboard by storyboard, add your images, upload what you need to upload. It also has backgrounds and photos and properties that you can add so that you don't have to spend a lot of time actually making the animations yourself. For some of us, we've been introduced to other tools and we may have been doing animation for a long time, but for some of us, if this is our first time, Animaker is a tool that you can use to put together your storyboard. But the first step is to make sure that you have your storyboard, because what you don't want to be doing is figuring out your story while you're figuring out Animaker. Just get your storyboard out on paper, sketch it out if you want, work through it with your friend, with a partner. And once you have your 5 to 15 point storyboard from start to goal, then you can start doing it scene by scene and fleshing it out into a tool like Animaker or Biteable or any other tool that you've been introduced to so far. So I will pause here and I will ask my final, there are two things that I want. Let me check the chat. So I have the rough chat, rough draft from Sarika. But I'll pause and see if everybody, well, first checking the room, is everybody thumbs up if we are still good, like we're not lost, thumbs down if we're lost. And also let me know if you have any other questions. I'm glad that Bridget was asking questions on your behalf. And I hope this was useful, but let me know if you have any questions for me.
Shamari wants to know if they can use their own background.
Yes, so just like before, I'd say in this one, you can use the upload feature. I also have my upload voice. So let's test that. If you wanted to use your own background, that is totally fine. You can drag it. And how it works is that, I don't know if you've used Photoshop before, but Photoshop has arrangements. And what you can do is just click the icon and you can drop it to the back. and it will become your background.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yep. And so you immediately have this an original arrangement. If you want to test your scene, you can click start.
Hi, my name is Madden.
Right, and it will move. And again, like any question you have about this, Animator also has like a good help
Tutorial.
text and a good
Yeah.
tutorial. They'll show you it in videos. You just type your question. Can I use Animator? Can I change my background in Animator? Because it will allow you to add your own custom backgrounds and tools to quickly just create your video. And again, if you want your character to be waving, because in your storyboard, you see the person is waving, then you can have them waving. And so yeah, so let me check, see if there's any more questions. Nope, there aren't any more questions. The final thing I'll do is I'll just take a look at, well, it is 8:08 right now. So Rika, what I will do is I'll give you my phone number. 168. And if you do want me to give feedback on the storyboard that you sent me, you can text me and we can have that conversation. But in the interest of time and making sure that you guys are not too up too late, I will pause the session here and just recap with what we went through today, which is as you prepare for your presentation, in your 1-minute intro, a quick way to do that is just introduce yourself, introduce your topic, introduce your challenge. What is it that you're targeting? You know, do your vision, your goal, and introduce your story, and then let your demo do the rest. And that's it for me. I know I kind of went through a lot of things. I'm trying to give you as much tips as possible. Can I have your phone number too? Yeah, I'll just send it to the general chat. And I'll make myself available.
Can you send it to us, Maneen? Oh. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's it. You can WhatsApp me. And I'll be available to provide support. I'll see the hours that I'll make myself available for during the week is between whenever these sessions start. So between 6 to make a time, is at 7 for the rest of the Caribbean. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just message me at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock if you're in Jamaica, and I'll reserve an hour to just answer questions.
Yeah.
And
so yeah, I know a couple of the girls were really anxious about animation, but I think this is a great tool because it really helps you to be able to use all of the wonderful art that you've been creating, all of the backdrops, all of the characters. I mean, you did say that if you use your own character, they won't be animated. Is that what you said, Mani?
Yes. So yes, it's free. It doesn't have it has a paid. I'm just answering the chat. It's free. It has a paid version, but everything I did just now is free. Answering your question, Bridget. Yes. So if it is that you have your own characters that you design, you won't be able to use the built-in animated feature. What you'll have to do is actually make your character express what you want them to express. But what you can do is, see here, let's say let's say this is a character I made. You still can do like effects. So if you want it to enter from the left or enter from the right, you still can have it move left to right, up, down. Huh?
We're not seeing your screen.
Oh, okay. So yes, as I was saying is, let's say you have if you have your own character that you designed and you uploaded it into this application, you would not be able to use the built-in character animation, right? This is for characters built into the application, where you can do expressions and actions, right? So you can change their expression, make them angry, make them do things. But you can design your own character in the app. However, if you've already designed your character outside of the app, what you can do is you can make that character move left, right, up, down by using the enter and exit effect, which is how does this character enter the screen? Maybe they pop up to the left, maybe they just enter from the left. And what that would look like is you click the character, click enter from the left, and click play. And that it will zoom in from the left, right? You can do that. But if you want to take advantage of the character animations, I would recommend making the character that you drew, create them using Animaker. And it's very easy to recreate any character you've designed in Animaker by just simply, so even if you already designed it, you can just create a version of it once in Animaker by just choosing if it's a male character, it's a male character. You can choose the ethnicity or which one your character looks the most like. And then you can then customize from there. Maybe the character that you designed is darker. Maybe the character you designed have different hair. And you can just work through Animaker. Maybe the character that you made had different eyes. If you've used Bitmoji before, you can use Animaker to design a character that looks like the character that you made. You can even dress them up how you see fit. And then take advantage of the in-Animaker animation tools. I hope that's helpful. I hope that's a good compromise.
Yeah, thank you.
What if your character is a fish? Good question. So if your character is a fish, I would say you wouldn't need any of the human character animations by simply just uploading the fish that you design. 1 second. So one thing to note, based on what I'm doing here, I can only create, it will let you know when you've reached your character limit. So I've created maybe 4 or 5 characters already. So you may only be able to create 4 or 5 unique characters before you're limited to just using the characters they provide to you. So they will provide characters that you can use. If you want to create unique characters, there are some limits. They will let you know. But to answer your question, if your character is a fish, you can either upload the fish that you've made, that you've designed from your computer, or you can use maybe flat icon or pixels. One of the other tools that I've shown you to find a fish that looks like your character. You can use pixels, or if you're an artist, you can draw your fish and upload it into Pixel and just move it up, down, back, forward, and animate it that way. And I know you were shown like other tools. So if Animaker doesn't work for you, you can use any of the other options. But yeah, if your character is a fish, you can upload the fish, move the fish, I don't know if you guys are seeing this question, but it was sent to me directly. And upload it into Animaker and have that fish move. And maybe Animaker has fish in it. I haven't actually searched for fish. Let's see. Let's see, I'm looking for properties. There you go, properties. Yeah, well, it has fish. So if your character is a fish, you can use any of the fish, or you can design the fish yourself. All right, so I think that's it for me. If there are any more
Yes.
questions.
Thank you, Manine. I hope you guys found this really, really interesting because I did. I'm now inspired to go and create my own animation. So I really, really hope that this helped some of you who were kind of stuck on how to create a story. Tomorrow, when we have our session, we'll give some hints as to what that first introductory 1 minute piece that you're going to do before you show, for instance, your animation, what that should give the judges in terms of just a quick synopsis of what they're about to see. So it sets context, right? So we'll put together something and post it and put it together in maybe a slide. I may touch base with you, Manine, and ask if you can just give me like one slide that I can share with the girls tomorrow, which would have a sort of synopsis of the areas that they should think about including in their introductory session.
Okay.
The introductory piece, because it doesn't have to be that you use a PowerPoint. You can literally just tell it to the judges, because if you use a PowerPoint, girls, somebody's gonna have to have the PowerPoint, and then the other person on their laptop is gonna have to have your modality ready to go, because it's gonna take time for you to take down the PowerPoint and start to share the animation, for instance. You know what I'm saying? So think about those things when deciding, whether or not you want to put up a PowerPoint slide to kind of give the judges an overview, or if you just want to talk them through it.
Excuse me, Ms. Bridget, I had a question, right? So I know that on Zoom, sometimes videos tend to stick, right? Will we be penalized if, for instance, like we play our video and it sticks?
Well, remember, we're going to have tech support in your rooms, Gabriella, like the last time. So you're going to be in your room for a while before the judges visit you. And the tech supporters should have tested everything. Kev, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Gabriella. So one of the things that we do recommend, and from my last recommendations, is make sure that you have good bandwidth for that session. If you have your little brother or little sister or some family watching using the internet at that time, whoever is sharing, that person has to have good internet. So choose the person who, yes, has the good laptop or good device, and then the person who has really good internet as well, the most stable internet. I could post up some links on how to check for little things like that, but those things is, you're all doing online classes for a while now, so you all understand about when the internet gives in trouble and all these kind of things, right? Unforeseen circumstances, yes, we will have, there'll be situations where that'll come up where you will get disconnected and stuff that beyond your control. But as far as possible, do the things that will not have your video sticking. And one of those things is having a good laptop and having good internet bandwidth, right? Which means nobody on the internet at that time and stuff like that. Little things like that, right? Little tips and tricks. And we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. I'll put up some stuff on the notice board, if anything. If that answers the question. But I guess if it's not understandable, they may say so if you're sticking too much.
What we will do is we'll try our very best that if you're having a problem, we'll move on to another team and try and come back to you.
Right, yeah. But yeah, if you went through the first round, you will understand some of the things that it's basically the same. Nothing's changed in the tech aspect of it.
Well, last time we didn't have to play our video, so it wasn't, we weren't worried about it.
Well, as much as possible, there are little tips that you could do. Of course, you reduce your file size, things like that now. So you could review those things, do your own research. I could probably put a link or two on how to reduce your file size. Now, I just getting technical, sorry. All right, so if you have like a video that's in high def 1080p, you don't necessarily need to play a 1080p video for your presentation. You could reduce it to 720, right? There are free programs that will actually do that. I don't know if Manine will agree with me with something that I'm saying there. Right, but that's something that I would recommend. It
Yeah.
decreases your bandwidth that you're using, right? And it also helps it not stick.
And also, if
Can you
it
repeat
is
the app? Can you repeat the app that you said? I didn't get that.
we're going to put it on a notice board, Gabriella.
Okay, thank you so much.
Tech tips. Right, Kev? We put up a tech tips.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Video, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And also, if you have, for instance, as Kev was saying, if you have an aunt or an uncle or a cousin who has better internet, just go to their house for the time that you're going to be pitching and pitch from there.
All protocols observed.
All right.
Yes, I understand now. Yeah.
All right. And then tomorrow it's me and Kevin, and we're talking about all you need to know to win. So, yay! So see you all there tomorrow.
I just put in the chat, those of you whose teams, I have 20 registered so far in terms of the times that you all want to set up for your pitch. If your team has not done that as yet, check with the team captain and use the link I just put in the chat and go on there. So hopefully by if any morning I have all or most. So I'm gonna start sorting those tonight, right? Based on what you all recommended, what you all want to what days you all want to pitch, right? And it's Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, or Sunday.
And remember to send your team pics, please. We need those for the final event.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's a good reminder.
By when do we need to send the pics?
Tomorrow.
By tomorrow?
Yeah, you guys jump on, you guys just jump on Zoom and take a pic. Or
no, we actually met up and took a pic already. But
okay.
who am I sending the picture to?
Oh, send it either to us in the contact us section of the notice board, or you can send it to any of us on WhatsApp.
Hackathon, I think some of you all have my WhatsApp as well, so you can also send it directly to that, whatever you want to do.
I don't have anybody's WhatsApp.
No problem. Just send it to the, go on the notice board and send it to the link there.
On the contact, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, send it there and we'll get it. Or just give us some information and we'll get in contact with you.
Okay, no problem.
Excellent. All right.